Hey everybody, it's me, Sven here, bringing you day number 229 of Let's Talk About Autism. Before we get started, I would love you to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below the video. It would help me out tremendously. So today I'll be talking about how I think. I don't know this for sure. I will be looking into this over the next few months and years. But I think that the trans and queer cult want to force autistic people and people with other neurodivergent conditions like OCD, ADHD, and so on. They want to force us into a marriage with them, like put us into their alphabet soup, and then we would certainly be the junior partner in such a marriage. Like the trans cult would believe they're superior and they think they can do whatever the heck they want to us. So what I mean by this is, like, it would be illegal, like by law illegal, for us to object if they want to go out with us or something. And if you don't believe me, look at what they've already done. They passed HB 25-1312 6 months ago, the bill where you can't use the birth name or the birth sex of someone who is trans identified, or else you'll go to prison for a few months or be fined $50,000. And you also can't, like, the state can steal your kids if you refuse to allow them to go down the trans path. That was already passed. That is codified right now. And it's so bad that even Gavin Newsom would have vetoed it. But that's what they've already done. And they're also already, I know this, saying that it's transphobic to not go out with someone who's trans. So, you can see where I'm going with this. So who's to say that next legislative season, which is only a couple months from now, they'll come up with some crazy policy to make it illegal to say no to a trans-identified person if they ask you out. Like, it would be illegal for you to say no, which is very much like the situation that women in Muslim countries are dealing with. Like, it's illegal for them to object to men when men are doing stuff to them. And who's to say the trans cult wouldn't do the same thing? They already have the controlled speech and their own version of blasphemy laws. Queer law, I called it that, because it's the trans equivalent of Sharia law. And Sharia law has its own dress codes. I mean, who's to say the trans cult wouldn't adopt something like that? I mean, they practically already tend to dress a certain way, usually opposite of the sex they were born as, obviously. But who's to say they wouldn't, like, mandate that people on the spectrum all be assumed to be trans? Now, that's a video I'll be working on tomorrow, where what will happen if people on the spectrum become perceived as being trans or queer. We're already headed in that direction. They're already making it like this. And this is where I think it's going. And they want to force us into a marriage with them. And should such a law ever come to pass, and God forbid, by the grace of God, I won't let that happen. I will fight it with whatever I can. But if such a bill were to come onto the House floor in my state, this is where it's all coming from, in Colorado. If such a bill where it's illegal to say no to a trans if they ask you out, like, I would fight that. But if such a thing were to pass, you know exactly who trans are going to start asking out en masse. They're going to go for the population with the 5% marriage rate, the autistic. They're going to go for us, the most vulnerable, the people most vulnerable to their radical ideology. And all they had to do was just brainwash a few people and bully people into compliance to get stuff like this through. And, it's terrible. In fact, news broke today that the guy that attempted to, how do I put this, unalive, I've seen a lot of people say this, Donald Trump last year used fake pronouns and had a thing for furries. So, they're insane. Like, it reminds me of radical Islam in a lot of ways. Like, the playbook is the same. And they're going to try to pass policies to make us subservient to them with power. And to the autism spectrum, this would basically be the end if they were to force us into a marriage with them. Again, I will never let it happen, and by the grace of God, I will not allow it to happen, and it will never happen. But the only way it won't happen is if we fight back. We need to fight back against these radicals seeking to subjugate us and subjugate our minds, like turn us into them with their propaganda and their influence. So, of course, they're going to force us into a marriage with them. The current strategy is seduction and influence, and then later it'll be government power. where the state can decide who's trans. Like another bill could say, oh, doctors and schools and politicians have the power to determine who's trans, and among other things, diagnosis would be one of the things to determine that. So if you're autistic, they would assume you to be trans. And we're not going to allow that to happen. This is something I've been talking about for almost 2 years now. So by the grace of God, we won't let it happen, but only if we come together and fight back against it and drive these radicals the heck out of our community and the heck out of our government and our schools and our hospitals and just out of our country. Get them out of power. That's what we need to do. So yeah, that was day 229. I will see you on day 230. Thank you for watching this video. God bless you. God bless the people of the spectrum, and God bless America. Goodbye.